CTV News at 6 with Hudson Mack.
Good evening. Former Bear Mountain CEO Lynn Barry is back on Vancouver Island facing tax charges that he says are nothing more than an honest mistake. Barry appeared in court this morning after failing to appear yesterday, prompting the judge to briefly issue a warrant for his arrest. The court case hinges on who was responsible for filing tax returns for Bear Mountain during the 2 years in question. Barry says it wasn't him. CTV's Andrew Johnson was in court today. He joins us now live with more. Andrew.
Hudson Barry is charged with 2 counts of failing to file tax returns on behalf of Bear Mountain Projects Limited in 2008 and 2009. His defense says he wasn't responsible for filing those returns because the company in question was in receivership. Barry went to great lengths to avoid our cameras today, but ever the showman, he was very animated in court. The testimony, mostly relating to tax law, was at times very dry, but Barry's antics were not. At times he turned to whisper and smile at reporters, and at other times he appeared frustrated with the slow pace of the trial. During breaks he chatted with reporters and even with the Crown witness who testified against him. That witness works for the Canada Revenue Agency and described trying to track Barry down to file returns on behalf of Bear Mountain Projects Limited in 2010. She eventually met with him, but says she was later referred to someone else as Bear Mountain went into bankruptcy. The defense says it wasn't Barry's responsibility to file the tax returns because the Bear Mountain Master Partnership, the parent company, was in receivership. The trial was expected to end today, but will continue tomorrow afternoon at 2. Hudson Lynn Barry said outside court he thinks this is an honest mistake on both sides. He told me he filed 40 tax returns for Bear Mountain companies in 2010, but this one was missed because the person who became responsible after bankruptcy proceedings began later got fired. Barry told me that as we were chatting near the elevator after court ended today, and then suddenly, almost mid-sentence, he dashed into the elevator and disappeared.
All right, we'll see if we can talk to him tomorrow.
We'll try.
All right, Andrew Johnson reporting. Andrew, thanks. Police in Los Angeles have now confirmed a body found in a downtown hotel is that of a missing Vancouver woman, Alyssa Lamb. Her body was found in the hotel roof water tank and was identified through body markings. Maintenance workers made the gruesome discovery yesterday, checking out complaints of low water pressure inside the hotel. The 21-year-old Lamb had been reported missing January 31st after her family had not heard from her for days. LAPD calls her death suspicious. They're trying to determine if foul play was involved. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow to determine the cause of death. Health officials in Los Angeles have also issued a do-not-drink order for anyone staying at that hotel. Originally, the police said they believed the water was safe. LA's Public Health Department will analyze it. The results of that are expected tomorrow. Denise Roth is just days away from life-changing surgery to remove a tumor at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. It's been non-stop travel for Denise over the past month. She just got back to Victoria last week after taking a surprise Hawaiian vacation with her brother Nick. She touched down in Rochester Monday for a series of appointments, getting ready for the surgery scheduled for Friday.
I'm a little bit nervous about the surgery, not so much because of the surgery, it's more the results and the outcome of it. So I'm just hoping for the best.
The surgery is expected to take about 2 hours. Janice is scheduled to remain at the Mayo Clinic for at least 5 days after. Once she is discharged, the family will remain in Rochester for 5 more days to ensure there are no complications. A small crowd gathered in downtown Victoria last night to remember and honor the 3 young people who were killed in that devastating house fire on Saturday.
Tragedies like this bring community together. They bring love and they bring support. But they also bring tears and they bring heartache.
The vigil was held in Market Square, organized by Pacific Rim College. One of the fire victims, Emily Moran, was a student at the college. She died along with her boyfriend, Mark Mitchell, and their roommate, Georgia Clapp.
One of the first full sentences she spoke was in the back of the car, and she said, "Mommy, I noticed the moon." And I've been noticing it this evening.
She told me that she had found in Mark a partner that she truly loved and that they were very happy together. Having personally seen them together, they were kindred spirits.
Georgia is a continuous gift to all she touched. We lost her very quickly, but her impact will be eternal.
Friends are now working to raise money for the victims' families to help pay for the funerals. Also to offer financial support for the survivors of the fire. The funeral for Georgia Clapp has been set for Friday morning at McCall's Funeral Home in Victoria. The Calgary Army reservist will not serve any jail time for his role in a military exercise that killed one of the men under his command. Major Darrell Watts was found guilty of unlawfully causing bodily harm and negligent performance of military duty in the incident. He was in charge of a platoon in Afghanistan in 2010 when a mine exploded during an exercise, killing one person, wounding 4 others. At his sentencing hearing today, he was demoted by 2 ranks to lieutenant and will also receive a severe reprimand.
Next thing I know, boom, everything just exploded.
In the U.S., investigators still don't know what caused a massive gas explosion in downtown Kansas City last night. The blast destroyed several buildings, including a popular restaurant. At least 1 person was killed. Dozens of others were injured. 1 person is still missing today. The Sea Shepherd Society says a Japanese whaling vessel rammed 2 of its ships and a fuel-laden tanker near Antarctica. The whaling activist group, or anti-whaling group, says the Japanese vessel was heading for the tanker for refueling. Japan's fishing ministry says the protesters were responsible for the collisions, not the whaling vessel. Health news tonight, and more beef being recalled over fears of E. coli contamination. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says frozen beef burgers sold at Canada Safeway stores could be contaminated. They are labeled gourmet meat shop and butcher's cut, pure beef patties. The affected products have a best before date of August 14th this year. If you have them in your freezer, check the dates, and if they are affected by the recall, do not eat them. Esquimalt is launching a program to collect and compost your kitchen scraps, part of a regional strategy to reduce the amount of waste going to the Heartland landfill. You'll recall the City of Victoria kicked off its green bin program earlier this year. Oak Bay and View Royal have had compost collection in place for several years already. Esquimalt will also change the way it collects regular garbage. Backyard collection will end. You will need to bring your bins to the curb to be emptied. The green bin program in Esquimalt will begin next year, and it begins in Saanich next year as well. A BC Transit bus caught fire tonight on the Trans-Canada Highway near the Helmkin overpass in View Royal. It was the number 50, a busy route on its way to the Helmkin Exchange, usually full at this time of day. No word on how many passengers were on board, but all of them and the driver escaped unhurt. There was another bus there to pick them up within about 5 minutes, and there were traffic delays on the highway, but they should be clear by now. A juror has been excused from the trial of the Queen of the North's navigation officer. Carl Lilgert is on trial for criminal negligence causing the deaths of 2 passengers on board the Queen of the North, reported missing after the ferry went down and presumed dead. This is the first BC Supreme Court trial that has elected a jury of 14. Those additional jurors were chosen to make sure that the case could continue if some had to be excused. The juror has been released for personal reasons, which are not being revealed. A First Nations community centre in Ladysmith is getting an extreme makeover. Nearly $90,000 in federal funding will be spent to improve the infrastructure at the Stiminus First Nations Community Centre. It'll get a new roof, siding, and a fresh coat of paint, along with improvements that will make it more energy efficient.
I think it's huge. It's used daily. A lot of our youth use it, not only youth but elders and everyone within the community use it.
This particular center is widely used not only for the Stiminus First Nation but for the broader community in the neighborhood as well. And it's structurally sound, but it is definitely in need of some upgrades to bring it up to today's standards and give it a makeover that makes it more functional for the modern era.
The renovations are already underway. They should be complete by about the end of next month.